Alrighty, welcome to Box Score Sports bonus episode. I'm Minnie.
I'm Brad.
I'm Ski.
It's going to be a good one. This episode will feature BBE's second ever 2,000-point scorer and Minnesota All-Star Game participant Kaden Pieper. In this episode, we will discuss his senior season and college recruiting process. Stay tuned for his first official commitment announcement. It's going to be good.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Sir.
Yeah.
Thanks for hopping on.
Thanks for doing this episode with us. It's gonna be a good one, I think.
All right, so you've been on. So
Yeah, last year.
About a year ago in the Step Brothers.
Yeah, you and Ashton Dingman.
that was a
Stay tuned for that one too. So
sneak peek.
Coming
Maybe.
soon.
Maybe. All right, so we'll just kind of hop in. What did this senior season mean to you?
It definitely meant a lot, just coming off a great year last year and coming up 2 points shy in the state tourney game. Brad can relate to that one and how we felt after that game. I think there was some water bottles thrown in the locker room.
Just a couple.
Yeah, but it was a go for his men's locker room, so don't tell them. But and then there was a lot of people kind of doubting us just because we graduated so many key players, just being inexperienced and younger. But so it definitely meant a lot. It didn't end the way we wanted it to, but
Yeah.
Definitely.
Stuff happens.
yeah.
You had some guys pick up where they from the start of the year.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of improvement, especially
Yeah.
from our young guys. But just we did a lot of scrimmaging in practice against the coaches. Got heated sometimes, but I think that's kind of what prepared us for.
yeah, I heard some stories about those practices.
Yeah.
It's
There
fun.
were some torn jerseys.
There's 3 to be exact. 3. All right. What was your favorite part of our season this year?
Boy, I don't know. As a team, I would just say just kind of our locker rooms and the bus rides. There was some funny moments in there. But then just personally, probably like 2,000 points, just because it was a kind of childhood dream.
Oh, yeah, for
Right,
sure.
yeah. So next year's team is gonna have a lot of people step up. So what's your advice for next year's team?
Don't take anything for granted, because I've played every game in my last 4 years here, and it feels like just yesterday I was just starting my 9th grade year. So don't take anything for granted, because you never know. You know, we had guys go out with injury this year. You don't know when it'll be your last game, last practice,
Right.
that sort of deal. But just work hard and trust the process. Like, I know that kind of sounds bland, but it's an everyday grind, and if you just fall in love with the process, the result will come.
Right.
So, what would you think is going to be like? What will be the thing that you miss most about high school basketball?
I'd say those bus rides and stuff, just being with, friends that I've like grown up with my entire life, like seeing these guys in class every day, and then going on in bus rides, locker rooms. We were pulling pranks and jokes and kind of talking crap to each other all the time. Definitely the practices too. It got heated. There was like the last dance where MJ and Kerr were getting into it because that's our practices in a nutshell.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
All right. Obviously, you already said that since you were younger, you wanted the all-time scoring record. It's a dream of everybody's. But like, when did it become like a reality that you could get it?
So I don't know. This whole career obviously was just focused on winning. I wanted to go out there and play every game like it was my last and do what I had to do for my team to win. But I would say after hitting that 2,000-point mark and seeing where we were at in our season, I kind of understood that milestone was like reachable. But it wasn't my focus. Definitely like a deep playoff run, I feel like I would have got it. But at that point, I was just like, whether I had 2 points or 30, like I was just focused on winning and surviving.
Yep.
Right.
But I'd say, that when I hit my 2,000-point mark, it was kind of like set in that it was achievable.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned your 2,000 points. What was it like to hit 2,000 points for you?
It was probably one of the most rewarding things I've ever experienced in my life.
Right.
Just because growing up, I had some friends and some family. Kind of like I told them like I wanted to be like Brian Goodwin, and obviously who holds the record. Mm-hmm. And he was getting rotational minutes as an 8th grader, and my 8th grade year, I said I want to be like him, and I want to be like his freshman year, like start and make an impact and stuff. And I was kind of like laughed at, kind of doubted, and just to kind of prove those guys wrong. But then not only start my freshman year, but then hit that 2,000 points and be after a scoring record, just from growing up and watching him in the state tournament, and remember going through the line and getting my ball signed by him and the posters and all that stuff. So it definitely was super rewarding just to kind of fall under that category of greatness. So
Absolutely.
Hey, those people, they just hate you because they ain't you.
facts.
What drove you to keep going to get to that 2,000 point?
A lot of it was I just fell in love with the process. Like once I fell in love with it, I want to say in between during my sophomore year, I kind of like really fell in love with it. Like once I fell in love, I couldn't stop. Like it was kind of an addiction at
Like
that
an
point.
obsession.
Yeah. But just looking up to him and just seeing that like anything's possible and using his record as like a driving force and like a challenge definitely was what drove me to try to score and try to reach that record. So
Sure.
What did it mean to you to suit up in number 1?
it meant a lot more to suit up every day with Jaguars on my jersey than the number. But having that number since I started varsity was kind of like I wanted to like create my own name and create my own path and kind of like leave in the history books as my number sort of deal. So every like game, like I wanted to go out there and I wanted to like show everyone like the work I put in, what I was made of, and kind of make that my number. So years down the road, people think of number 1 and they think of me. So
Think it'll get retired?
I don't know. Yeah, that's a question for the boss man himself. I guess
Hot
we'll have to
take.
see.
Hopefully.
So you kind of mentioned it already, but what did it mean to you to be so close to that all-time scoring record?
It felt great. Just rewarding. Obviously, it was bummed I couldn't beat it. I think I ended like 20 points away from tying or 21 from breaking. So definitely, you look at it. That's one more game, possibly 2, whatever. But so I was definitely bummed, but still, just to be that close to him, it's up there. Like it takes a lot of work, and I don't think some people understand like how much work, how much blood, sweat, and tears kind of went into how close I got to that record. So
For sure. What would you say was like the overall college recruiting process like for you?
it was long. It was kind of stressful. So I want to say my 9th grade summer going into 10th grade, we did invest in like this recruiting page. So like you go and you put like photos on there, you put film on there, your achievement stats, like your measurables, academics. And then these guys like send it out to their college contacts. So they have like whatever emails all over for coaches and they just mass send it to try to get you on the radar. And that, I don't think that worked as well as I thought. People kind of just view it, get out of the email, keep going, sort of deal. I would say probably my junior year kind of took off. Obviously, state tournament helped that a lot. But also playing AAU, just because with like being a college coach, like they have deadlines, or like dates, so they can't go out and actively recruit like in person during this period of time, and then they have like 2 weeks where they can go out and actively recruit, and like those weeks are hard, and AAU kind of helps with that because they plan tournaments within that period so they can come out and see you. But then especially like if you look at it, like coaches are obviously in season when we're in season, like here at school ball. So during AAU, you get them like when they're out of season, they're actively recruiting for their next class. So AAU is definitely a huge help to the recruiting process, but it was stressful. It really kicked in the past like 2 years, like I said, in my junior year. But talk about a lot of decisions, a lot of time, and a lot of time spent with your head spinning.
Believe that.
All right. What were what were your main colleges, not only like you were looking at, but that were also looking at you?
So being that I played for a smaller AAU organization, we did some stuff within the prep hoop circuit, and that's like the big circuit, whatever, where all the coaches are at, reporters, everything. But a lot of them were a little smaller tournaments, so you had a lot of like Division III MIAC schools that were there, and that was because they could always be there. So they didn't have those like certain weeks where they couldn't actively recruit. Like there are different rules for like D3 than D2 and stuff like that. So I had a lot of schools in the MIAC reach out and were interested in me. And a couple of them I kind of cut out right away just because like academics, like a couple of them were like more like lawyer, doctor orientated. Right. And it just didn't fit academically. Right. Or like a couple of them were like in the heart of a huge city or something. And that's just growing up out here, like that wasn't me.
Yeah, for sure. It's not just about basketball. So
yeah, like that's a lot of what people don't understand. Like they look and they're like, oh, like they look at levels and they look at like how successful the team's been, but it's like you got to look at like the team dynamic, like how they get along, the coaches,
And the area.
the area is huge, and then just academically, like, you don't want to go there and like not enjoy class at all because class is 9 months.
Huge.
Basketball's only like 5.
Yeah, it's huge.
So
Just I just wanted to add on to that. What were your two final? Do you know what your two final colleges were? Do you had two final choices?
yeah, I did. So I narrowed them down, and after, well, we'll go back just a little bit. So I had this Comet showcase. I want to say October maybe. So I played with the Comets briefly, just because they were out guys with injury and stuff like that, and they had a couple guys gone for family reasons. So I played with them, and they're a lot bigger of an organization. So they go to these huge school or huge tournaments where these schools are there. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Pentagon in Sioux Falls.
Oh yeah.
So they got this one center heritage court, big court. Everyone wants to play there. But then around that, they got all these different smaller courts. And we went there, and like it was a whole different level of competition. And I was playing with dudes that were like, they were hoopers. Like they weren't just good basketball players, they were hoopers, man. And you show up there, and like the warm-up lines are just dunks like you could dream of doing, and they're just doing them in their Crocs. Like it's crazy. And you look on the baseline, and they had these either chairs set out in a straight line, or they had bleachers, those small little bleachers, and just lined with coaches. I mean, like we played this game versus Minnesota Rise, and that's when I actually saw Isaac Matty again, who just put buckets on us in the chip. But yeah, I'm still not a fan of him for showing up my point guard Will like that. But so yeah, we're playing him there, and you look on the baseline, and I'm talking like SDSU was there. I'm talking like University of South Dakota. You had like NDSU there. You had St. Thomas there. I mean, you had all these like not like mid-major D1s and low-major D1s there that I've like not used to. So like you look down there, and it's just a sea of those polos with their logo right there, and it's kind of intimidating at first because you're like, you know, you don't want to screw up sort of deal. But so after playing with the Comets, I was invited to their like Comet showcase, where it was kind of the same deal. They went and you ran through some skill work. You got put on teams, and they played like a pool play sorta. And then there were scouts always there, and then they like voted on like an all-star game sort of deal, where they picked like the top 20 people, 10 on each team, and then they played a final game with those top 20. And so I was invited to that, and I was initially not gonna go, because I was just like, you know, I don't know if I want, like, I don't know if I wanna, kind of intimidating sort of deal. And then their director actually reached out, who was the coach of the 17U guys I played with. And their director reached out, and he's like, yo, you gonna sign up for this? The deadline's in like a couple hours. And I was like, yeah, dang, like, do I go? Do I not? Sat there, I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. So I went on there, didn't think twice, just clicked it. Boom, I'm locked in. I gotta go now. Right? So I went there and actually played really well. And I made that final cut of 20 and played with, you know, some guys that are going to some good D2 programs. And a couple of them were like the Comets players I played with. So, and it was super fun. You know, we went out there, and there's coaches lined all along the baseline. Our bench was on one sideline. There was a couple coaches on the other sideline. And we're just out there having fun, you know, fast breaks. It's the type where you can throw an alley-oop off the glass. It don't matter where you put that ball, he's going to dunk it. Like, these guys are freaks. And after that, I had received a call from Jamestown, and I'd gotten in touch with a couple schools out in Wisconsin. And that kind of started rolling, because then I went on a visit to Jamestown, was offered by Jamestown, and then it's kind of, you got to get that first official offer. And you get that first official offer, and it just kind of snowballs. So after that first official offer, it kind of picked up. And then I had some D2s reach out. I was up in Bemidji for a camp, stuff like that. I was actually up there twice, and it, you know, snowballed. But then looking at like location, coaches, team dynamic, like how everyone got along, the academic portion of things, my final cut were the University of Minnesota Crookston and Concordia College. And a couple of those were just like Crookston, they were down this year. They had a coaching change. They were down. But they got, like, they refer to the transfer portal a lot. So they got a lot of guys in there, like a lot of different guys. And it was a cool atmosphere to be in, just because when you grow up in a small community like this, like you're not exposed to that sort of stuff
Yeah,
growing
you just
up.
know everybody around
You know everybody. We're all kind of the same, like, religion, background, that sort of stuff, right? No, this was cool. Like, they had guys from all over, not only the country, but, like, they had a couple guys from London. They had like a 6'10" dude from Argentina. So you walk up, and I'm thinking I'm like decently sized here. I walk up, and it's like you're looking straight up at him, and his accent and stuff, like, it was cool. So I got along with those guys really well and hung out with those guys and liked it there. And their coaches, like their head coach was experienced. Their assistant coach had been everywhere. He actually coached against me back in the day in like my 9th grade year when I went to Wichita, Kansas to play. So it's like an insanely small world. But so those guys, I really like those guys. And then Concordia College, lower level, but they play an elite style of basketball. Like, the MIAC is nothing to joke with. Like, there are hoopers there. They could, there's guys there that could go to mid-major D1s and be successful. Like, no matter where you go, it's not about levels. When you understand it's not about levels, like, it really opens up the whole recruiting process deal. So those two were actually my final cut, just based off of team, school, location, and just dynamic of their program. So,
Alrighty, so
This,
well, we've been waiting for anyone who doesn't know. None of us know where he's going yet.
Yep.
So
No one knows.
surprise
this is
to
all
us,
new
too.
to us. So
Yep. He only has told very few people.
yep. So it's basically just been released to family so far. It's been kept quiet for like it's been about a week now.
You've known for a week?
Actually, a week on the dot. A week on the dot. So it's been we got knocked off what, 2.5 weeks ago?
2.5 weeks. Yeah,
2.5 weeks
something like
ago. So I had it kind of cut down for, I'd say, maybe the last month. There was maybe a third one in there, but it's kind of been those two for the last month. And I kind of could kick the can farther down the road when we were playing basketball, because my mind was always on us and our success first, right? So the past, like I've known for a week, but from our season ending to last week Thursday, my head was spinning. Like, I was like, I want to go here, and then I just overthink my decision, and then second guess myself, and then say I want to go here when really my heart was with this other school, right? So officially, I will be taking my talents to Concordia College to play for.
You know
Yeah.
what? I did not guess
yeah.
that, actually.
To play for Coach Borman and Coach Niehaus up there. So
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Lit.
That's big.
a little lower level, but like I said, like, those guys are hoopers, man. Like, they're like I went up there for a visit, and then I went back up there to hang out with the guys and to watch their practices, and then back up there again for an official visit where we watched them play. I got to experience like the post-game locker room, that sort of deal. And that group of guys, like, they're different. Like, they're welcoming. Like, I fit right in with them. And so it was a great group of guys. And their coaches are one of the best group of coaches like I've ever met. Like, they're like obviously nice and like look out for like what's best in like you and your interest, but I think the difference was they take so much more pride in recruiting not only guys can play basketball, but they're great guys off the court. Right. So that was definitely a huge factor in the decision. But they came. It's like a 2-hour, 15-minute drive from here to the campus, and I want to say they came to about 15 to 16 games a season.
Wow.
Of our 26-game regular season schedule, they came to about 15 of them, I'd say. They had one of the three coaches there. So just that level of commitment to me, and they stressed that they were looking for, like, they weren't there to evaluate me. They were there to evaluate me the first 2 games, whatever. But then after that, they're like, it's pure out of support. Like, we're here to support you. Bad game, good game, whatever. Like, we're not here because we think you're a good fit already. We're not here to evaluate you further.
Right.
Wow.
So just their level of dedication to me, and they showed that they were committed to me. And then their head coach, like, super great guy, came down after a game. I want to say on like a Thursday night, we had a game, home game, and he was at that game and then actually came over for a house visit that night. So we spent that night chatting for a couple of hours just with the family, he's just getting to know like my family, my brother, just hanging out at her place, and it fit. And I think that's where my
For
heart's
sure.
been.
And it's that little stuff that makes you more comfortable. where
Yep.
you're going.
Yep,
Absolutely.
for sure. So it's like, yes, the decision is half basketball because that's what I'm going to go play. But like making the decision goes a lot farther than that.
For sure.
All right. So, what would you say are you looking forward most to about going there?
I would just say they're like how seriously the sport is taken. Because like obviously I view like this sport has been my life since I've picked up a basketball. Like everything I do is around the sport, around my goals, and just being able to be in the gym more. The gym's always unlocked. You're always open. Like they're pushing you to go and get better. And I say just that, and then being with guys that want nothing more than to win. Like they don't care how they do. They just care what the final score is. And they show up and they put in the work every day. They're putting in work on and off the court. And I'd say that's probably like what I'm looking forward most about college.
Yep. And like every guy there is in the same boat as you. Like they've dedicated their life to basketball.
Yep.
Stuff
And
like that.
you get on a team here, it's like all of these guys have been the best player in their high school squad.
Yep,
Like
exactly.
you get there, it's a totally different dynamic than what you're used to. And it's just about learning and growing as a player. So yeah, you might not be the best guy in your squad, like on that squad, like you were in your high school team, and you might not be able to go on the court and do whatever, but it's going to really test everybody, like how well you can accept your role and play your role.
Yep.
For sure.
Oh my goodness. I feel like you mostly covered all of the stuff we are gonna ask you about. So I don't know. I think that's about all we
I
have.
think that's
really.
all we got.
Yeah, so it's official that I will be suiting up in the maroon and gold next year.
Sir,
Yeah,
we'd all like to congratulate you on it.
Yes.
And good luck on your future.
Thank you.
100% agree.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right. Yeah. Good luck on your future.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, guys, for having me on.
Yep.
Sir, anytime.